provide them the actual value 10 times over and believe that that's possible.
Once you get in with somebody who gives you the confidence to go forward, from there, it's an investment. So why don't you talk about where we are with the course currently, you know, how you feel like we're at with that? Like,
so we're at the beta version of the course.
Yep.
And so we have to rewatch it and add things, maybe change some stuff, but more just add a few, I would say screen share, stuff like that. That's step one. Step two is we could run some ads to it, but I think that might be a little bit later. And step three is, the actual path of being able to purchase the course is still clunky. People are emailing us saying like, hey, how much is the course, or et cetera, so the landing page needs to be tweaked. The whole process of them being able to order the course needs to be easier.
This is where things get really interesting. I think when you're about to sell something, you know, you want to create kind of like this, you know, I hate to say the word funnel, but it is. It's a funnel, right? Regardless. It's a funnel, and, you know, there's so many different platforms out there that we've tested out and we're still testing out. You know, the most notable one, right, that everybody easily starts with or talks about in the funnel process is, you know, what's the one with the X award? The
ClickFunnels.
ClickFunnels, right? I mean, it's literally in the word, right? Right. But I think we're trying to create a more integral version of that, because it's all those. The problem is it gets a bad name, right? Because you see these things and it just you feel like you're being,
because
like,
it got exploited so hard.
Yeah.
I feel like now it's super cringy to have like funnels and this and that. People are like, oh, so you're scamming people. It's like, not really. Like, there are legitimate forms of advertising a legitimate course.
Right.
That ClickFunnels has become synonymous, and not to everyone, just to like, you know, a sect of people as like, guard up. I'm getting scammed here.
Right.
So a way to kind of get some trust involved in that is exactly what we're doing here. Yeah. We're having conversations about what we do, whether it be a channel that we're working on that makes us money, or, you know, a potential make us money, or a course that we're working on, or one of our many failures. So we're you know, opening the door to all of that. And it's like, if you want to do anything with us, take any of our products, we don't just have a course, you can go to our website, and there's literally 5 things that we do. And that's what we want. We don't want to have to go down ClickFunnels. First of all, it's a nightmare. And second of all, it like you said, it's just cringe as because they're like, let's hear your sob story. You got to have a sob story. That's part 1 of the funnel. Right. Remember we were going to hire that one guy for my mom's grant
Crazy
writing
Dave
funnel? Yeah, and he's like, oh, this is great, but you have to, and it's like, it was just started to unravel.
You got to do a giveaway.
Yeah,
exactly. Give away an iPad. They'll all come to the live event.
And then it's, exactly. All this. And it's just like, it's got to be simpler than that. Yeah. And just more straightforward. I hesitate to use the term honest because it sounds like the other things you do aren't honest. No, it's just an honest way to like, tell people what you're doing and have one landing page.
Yeah.
Hopefully that can work and we don't have to start freaking doing these stupid you know, whatever. Like, this should just be able to work. Here's what we offer. We talk about doing a channel for promoting your product. This is exactly that. Yeah. We talk about that in videos. We talk about that to people all the time. It's like, well, you want to pay $10K for ads, or do you want to spend nothing on your channel and probably get the same result and actually get paid on your channel if you have a product, if you're willing to do that? So, I mean, that's essentially just what we're doing.
Yeah, I also think there's, you know, we talk about this a lot, which is there's this amazing tool. Some people use it for good, some people use it for bad, right? You get a hammer, you could build a house for Habitat for Humanity, or you can use it to bludgeon somebody to death, right? I mean, that's just the truth, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
But that's the same way with ClickFunnels or a funnel system in general, right? What I like about, you know, again, I'll go back to Kajabi here because there are other platforms. I don't want to feel like I'm promoting it, but what I like about Kajabi is it's simple in the way that it's very intuitive. Like, yes, of course, I want all these things. Like, it has the ability to create funnels and landing pages and newsletters, but you do that when you're ready, right? Like first we need a product. All right, so we put the course up there, right? Second, okay, let's get a newsletter. Okay, let's get a landing page. Like, get these things in order. You can kind of take your time with building those out versus I need everything and I need it right now. And like,
to me, I would call that, like, as opposed to a funnel, which is designed to, like, I feel like get sales more so than get people into your ecosystem, although it's for that too. I feel like what Kajabi is the best at here is organizing all of the things that you need to have once people are in to make their experience good.
Yeah.
Like, okay, they're in, they bought the thing. Is that it? Now, of course, that could be like, oh, well, then you can upsell them later. So, like, and that's true. Well, you have further products. But more so, it's like, well, how do you actually make their experience worth the money they paid you?
There you go. Well, that's the question I was going to ask. Why are we different than everybody else, right? Why would somebody want to come to us like, oh, you guys got a course? Great, guys. Like, what the f*** am I going to do with this? I'll take a course and then what?
Yeah. I could learn half of that on YouTube.
Yeah. It's like great, guys. Like, I appreciate this.
So what we want to do is provide them the actual value 10 times over and believe that that's possible. Just if they have a question, there's a community and you're answering it. You're in there. You know what I mean? You're constantly evolving and updating any course and community things as things get updated and there's necessary stuff like that. And when that happens, you want to send a newsletter out. You want to send a weekly newsletter out, monthly newsletter, whatever it may be, saying, this is what's up with us. This is the things kind of you need to know that's coming down the pike for YouTube or that just happened, and then that's really it. But just something like that and like give them the value, be there. You're fetching the paper for them almost.
Right.
In a lot of ways. And then, just because they took the course on YouTube, you want your community to be accessible, Facebook, TikTok, all this stuff. So I just feel like the organization of all of that is really hard.
Well, I also think one of the hardest questions that comes up, and it does make a lot of sense, is how do you position yourself in terms of price? This is, I mean, we debated this. We've had conversations about it.
Right.
Sure. Like go out there, find comps, right? Comparables that are like close to what you're doing in this space, but at the end of the day, I think when you're trying to price yourself out, you hit it on the head a couple times, which is what is the value that you're providing? And that's the reason why I asked that question. Why are we so different? And I think the answer is, you're going to get a foundational piece of this, which is the course. But that's why we broke it down this way. You take this so everybody's on the same page, right? We're all at the same, at the very least, you're at the same level there. Then where the real magic happens is in the engagement, right? The conversations that happen inside the community and the consultation, right? The fact that we're able to talk to you and pinpoint those hurdles that you're struggling with and help you get through those. You're still doing it yourself, but you're doing it with somebody next to you that can help you alleviate that tension.
Right. I think it's really hard to price this stuff out because we have to know how it works as a business too, which is the reality of it. It's like, oh, well, what's it worth? It's like, well, first of all, we need to understand if this is a viable product. And that means, can we charge enough or get enough sales or somewhere in the mix of those two numbers,
right?
For that we're sustaining life. The people in our that work with us for us are also getting paid. So that's where the pricing gets really difficult because it's like, well, what's it worth? Well, I mean, depends on how you want to frame that. Like, I think it's worth $1,000, but the question is, can it run at $1,000 profitably? So we'll see. And if it can't, then we can drop the price. But right now, I can't see it being viable if it's not $1,000. At least, you know what I mean? And also, I like to follow. We both played poker. And I really like the channel Doug Poker, and he had his coaching site, his training site. And we used to have U.S. Poker School. We tried to do it for free years before his Upswing Poker course. And he charges $1,000, and he hires the best people, and he does the best videos. It's a very similar product to what we're doing, and that's why I like it. And I would take his course. I bought one of his courses for $1,000. It was worth it.
Yeah.
And I'm somebody who's played 10,000, 20,000 hours, but I still do it. So I think that really helped nail it in my head. Like, you know what? $1,000 is a good price if you're serious. It's a perfect price. But you got to go all in. And he is clearly like super all in, and it's inspiring. That's inspiring to me because, he's a natural teacher. He's a natural person that people ask questions and he can explain them and in a relatable way, and he's funny about it, and I think that we can be that too with what we know. So I'm inspired by his business model that I feel like we were there years ago, but we didn't really stick to it or figure it out. So we went into the faceless channels world, which is great. But now I look at some other people that I like, and some of them have courses, and that's just a good example of where I think like, yeah, ours is $1,000 and we're all in. And really what it comes down to is that community, because the course is going to get your head right and understand it all and be like, okay, now I have a roadmap.
Yeah.
Community is so important though, because each thing that you're going to get hung up. Yeah. And it's nice to just be able to bounce it off of us rather than trying to search for different YouTube videos from different creators and try to find your exact problem and who's trying to pitch you something and who's not. So I think that, our community is really where we're going to be able to offer just as much value, if not more, as a course. Yeah,
I would agree. I mean, I again, it's one of those things where I always look at it from the poker aspect of, going out to San Diego, spending $15,000.
Yeah, we spent $15,000 to train with Ari.
Yeah. So I mean, and what was that worth to us? And it was everything.
Everything. It made. Yeah. I mean, so much more. 15,000 was a bad quarter basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And it gives you the confidence. And honestly, what it was it gave the confidence. It gave a basic structure. Yeah. But then all of a sudden we were in a community. Yeah. We met Bob to Bob, James Page. We met Sublime, Joseph Chung.
Yeah.
Noah and Brendan and all these people. They came and their networks.
Who's the French dude? That dude was
Drexel.
Sweet. Drexel.
Yeah. So we met all these great players who at the time were better than us, were making more money than us. And they were kind of in this outer realm. And we were like, hey, could you help us with this spot or this spot? And they were cool because they were in the same community. They also trained with Ari.
Yeah.
That community was, because it still took about 2 years until that really started to work, 1.5 years. It's just very similar to this YouTube thing. It does take a little bit of time, but man, when it works, it's like, holy and now all of a sudden, and people are like, holy how are you doing this? How'd you make all this money? Whether it be poker or YouTube or whatever else.
I think that's, it's very reasonable to understand that once you get in with somebody who gives you the confidence to go forward, from there, it's an investment, right? It's now like, okay, I got the blueprint. I know what to do. I feel confident. Now I got to put in the hard work.
And it's exciting to put in the hard work because it's going to work. Because all these guys
know how to play the game
were
now.
You a year ago,
yeah.
And now you got the training they got, and you're seeing it start to work here and there, and you're like, okay, because your bankroll's not big enough, so you can't play what they're playing, but it's coming. It's going to work. So now grinding is not a problem because you're not you go through 3 weeks downswing. Same with YouTube. It's not like, well, we've had a bad 2 months. We better pack it in. It's
right.
What are you talking about? We've seen it work so many times now. It's like, well, we can't pack it in. Just because you have bad months, you're maybe got to cut expenses or whatever it is. But
got to stick with it.
It gives you the confidence to know that, okay, well, this works, and when it works huge. So it's a business though. They're all businesses. So it's not all freaking, rainbows and sunshine.
Well, it sets the right expectation.
Because you start to want to grow.
Yeah.
And then when you start to want to grow, those expenses go up. And then your channel might start going down. And then when your channel goes down, sponsors start to pull back a little.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, now what? I just took on these expenses to grow over here. It's not working that fast. My going down here. What do I do? This and that. Well, we can be like, this is what we did. Because that happened to us on almost every single channel. That will happen.
But I think that sets, that kind of sets the right expectation, right? Because I think when you go into this, you don't know what to expect. And once you find out that other people are failing the same way that you are, you're going to have bad months. All of a sudden it's like, okay, this is normal, right?
Right.
Where do I stack up, right? If I had that measuring stick, it's like, okay, I've been at YouTube for 6 months, right? I'm getting to the point where I'm, maybe making a couple $1,000s. I shouldn't feel so bad about this, right? Okay, you're in your early stage, but there's a time and a place, right? To, hold and fold, so to speak, right? If you're 4 years in, you're probably doing something wrong.
Exactly.
And, you need to change or evolve, but give yourself a break and understand that this is an investment and it's not going to happen overnight.
And sometimes your idea was pretty good at first, and sometimes you got to kind of tweak it a few times by seeing what does the audience like that you're doing, what do they not, what do they respond to, and start going in those directions more. Start looking up what are my kind of audience or similar to them. What are they looking for? And start doing some things on that. Don't just go completely that way, but go that way, you know?
I think having a feedback loop to understand where you're at all times, right? So figuring out, I created this product, I created this piece of content, this entertainment platform, this community, you know, always constantly asking, what else would you guys like to see? Because the analytics aren't everything, right? If you're not engaging with your community, right, that you're building, you know, you still don't have a good measuring stick. It's just like, all right, well, based on the analytics, I guess this is the right direction, and it could be completely wrong. You know, it could just be an anomaly of some sort.
Shape it, replacing the truth. I really can't hate it, but the lines are so creative. I don't mean to celebrate it, but it's cool. But look, the more that I deny it, as the fuel to the fire, your delusions I desire, but it's cool.